Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be doing a review of the LG 27GN800-B. I'm going to go over the pros and the cons and my own real life experience that I've had with this monitor. And if at any point during the video, if you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, and Canada. I do got you guys, but let's jump into it. All right, right off the bat, let's run through some of the basic specs. This is a flat 27-inch 1440p 144 hertz panel. This is a great resolution with a good PPI or pixels per inch. So text is gonna be clear, gaming is gonna be super clear. So it's about 108 pixels per inch, which is a good PPI. So you're getting 1440p in a 27-inch screen size, which is pretty much perfect for gaming. Coupling image and performance. All right, now this is also an IPS panel, and if you don't know what that is, basically you're gonna get really good viewing angles. So if you view it from the side or higher or lower elevations, this is gonna still keep colors, brightness, nothing's gonna wash out if you change your direction, which is really nice to have. Something like a VA panel or especially a TN panel, they're gonna have much different color shift or washing out. You're not gonna see that on this. This IPS is also gonna have more accurate colors than most monitors. All right, let's talk colors. This is an 8-bit panel natively. However, it uses frame rate control to hit 10 bits of color. Frame rate control basically utilizes the high refresh rate of this monitor to switch between a ton of different colors to actually come up with the shades. So this will have 1.07 billion colors like a true native 10-bit panel. So this is 8-bit plus FRC, which is actually really great to see. Lower price point, but you still can output 10 bits of color. Now this monitor also hits 99% of the sRGB color space, which is really awesome to see on this monitor. So you can legitimately go from straight gaming into some video editing or photo editing. Obviously, we're not talking like a super insane color accurate monitor from BenQ, but if you're just editing some pictures or doing some color grading for YouTube, this thing will work great for you. And this also comes pre-calibrated from LG like they do with most of their monitors, which is also another really good thing. Now, if you're starting to notice a trend here, it's that nothing is absolutely amazing and crazy. It doesn't have 244 hertz or 240 hertz or 360 hertz, right? And it's not curved and things like that, but it does a lot really, really well. Now let's move on to the next one that also follows suit. This panel's brightness. So this hits 350 nits, which is really respectable. Now you're not getting 450 nits where we see on a little bit more premium monitors, but in a pretty well lit room with the windows open, you're not gonna have to shut those windows to play on this thing. The matte finish on the screen also helps with reflections and such things as that, but I wasn't noticing myself closing the windows a lot, and reflections really weren't a big deal. The brightness also helps with how pretty the picture is. Obviously, if you have good colors but a low brightness, nothing's gonna seem vibrant, whereas with this thing, with the color accuracy and it being an IPS panel and it having 350 nits, it looks nice. All right, now let's talk about probably one of the biggest cons with this monitor, which isn't a massive con, but it is definitely one, the contrast ratio. Now, this is just a con with all IPS panels. Typically, they're about 1,000 to 1. That's what this one is. Whereas VA panels can basically start at 3,000 to 1 and go up to 5,000 to 1 or higher. The black levels on VA panels look borderline like OLED panels. Whereas IPS panels, you can definitely still notice that the screen in a black area is still on, right? Like you can still see that it's not quite black. It has kind of like a screen on look to it. Whereas a lot of VA panels, you don't know. It's very close to an OLED panel. All right, now response time. The response time on this monitor is quite good. Like most high-end LG Ultragear models, it's 1 millisecond gray to gray response time, which is very good. But there are three or four different settings for the response time. So you can either have it in off, which is funny. There's like no lowest setting, it's just off. And then there's normal, fast, and faster or fastest, can't remember. But the highest setting, faster, will cause pixel overshooting and inverse ghosting. So I would stay away from using that one if you want to hit that 1 millisecond gray to gray response time. You will have to have it in that, but I would say the best setting is actually in normal or fast. Now fast still has a very slight, and I mean very slight, amount of pixel overshooting. I only pick up on it because I'm a reviewer and I test a ton of different monitors, but you probably will not even be able to see it. There is a slight amount. So I would still say the best response time setting would be in fast. If you guys are insanely nitpicky, and I mean you would have to be insanely nitpicky, you could put it in normal. And even in normal and even in off, there is barely any ghosting. In fast, it's pretty much nothing. All right, now the next pro is it has FreeSync Premium. Now let's talk about G-Sync because I think a lot of you guys will probably be confused about this. this has a G-Sync sticker on the front of the monitor, which is very misleading. This thing does not have G-Sync. It is a G-Sync compatible FreeSync Premium. So that's all the sticker means. This does not have G-Sync. That being said, NVIDIA recognizes this instantly and it turns G-Sync on, the G-Sync compatible mode, so you won't have much issues there. All right, now sticking with that, let's talk about the next pro, which is MBR, which is motion blur reduction. This basically makes there be absolutely no motion blur. And a lot of this stuff sometimes in monitors is gimmicky, or it doesn't really work well, or it dims the display so much that it's not even worth it. But let's talk about it. First, you cannot have FreeSync Premium on while you have MBR on. And the reason is that when you have a motion blur reduction, it actually limits the monitor. It keeps it at its consistent refresh rate. So it's gonna be capped, it's gonna be locked at 144 Hertz. It cannot move from that. So the main thing that FreeSync and G-Sync does is it will actually match your PC's output frame rate and then change the refresh rate of your monitor to that to eliminate screen tearing and things such as this. So when you have MBR on, you actually cannot have those on because it doesn't change the refresh rate of the monitor. That being said, a lot of these things are unusable. Like I said, this one is not. Now it does dim the display a little bit. However, it's already at 350 nits, so the dimness isn't too dim. Now obviously you will need a dark room if you're doing this, but if you're gaming at night, not a big issue. Now it is a night and day difference. The motion blur reduction works really, really well. And honestly, most of the time when monitors have this, I never use it. With this monitor, I was using a little bit in Warzone and it was really, really nice to use. Now, obviously this is a mode that you're only gonna wanna be doing when you're playing in a competitive game like Warzone, something like that. When you're actually in normal game or you just wanna look at pretty scenery, which sometimes I just enjoy to do that in Warzone anyway, you're not gonna want it on this because it's a little bit dimmer than you would like to see all those vibrant colors. All right, let's talk ports. This includes one DisplayPort 1.4, two HDMI 2.0s, and then one 3.5mm audio out, and then obviously the DC in. But besides that, a lot of LG monitors use this. In fact, I think most of them do. Instead of plugging in beneath it, you actually plug in straight into the back of the monitor, which is really easy for ease of access to unplug cables, plug them back in, and also to cable manage them. So I prefer that instead of plugging in the bottom, because how many times you gotta be like sticking your head under the desk and plugging them in? This one, put your head over the monitor, plug it in, you're good to go. This is also Vesa mountable with 100mm by 100mm Vesa mount. And if you wanna upgrade your desk setup, I definitely recommend putting a monitor arm on this thing. They're super easy to install and they're very inexpensive. I'll have one link below that's super cheap and will hold this thing up very well. And I've actually tested it with this monitor. That'll be linked below. All right, now let's talk stand and build quality. Now this is the 27GN800-B, so it doesn't get the premium stand. That being said, it is still a pretty premium stand. It doesn't have rotation, doesn't have height adjustability, doesn't have swivel. A con, is it a deal breaker for you? I don't know, you're gonna have to weigh that yourself. It does have tilt, it is really nice tilt, and the actual stand and everything with itself, the build quality, the materials, the feeling, the stability, everything's very premium, even though it's not a super premium height adjustable stand that LG makes. But you compare this to like the Samsung Odyssey G5 stand, which was like, it was stable, but everything else about it was bad. It was like very, very cheap. Compared to that, this thing is like very premium. But guys, overall for a 27-inch monitor, this may be one of the best monitors out there for $350 to $400. That's it. But again, guys, if you do want to go check out this monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, and Canada. I do got you guys, but yeah, I highly recommend this monitor if you're in for a 27-inch monitor, a flat IPS monitor, and that response time is just absolutely killer. A lot of these LG monitors we're seeing have a much better gaming performance for ghosting than many other monitors. LG is pretty much the king of the IPS world, at least in gaming. But if you guys are looking for a 24-inch monitor, I also have the LG GN, or is it G something 650. It's the 24-inch kind of version of this. It's like its little brother, quite a bit cheaper. It's a little bit smaller, but it has a lot of good stats on it as well. So if you want to check that out, check out my channel. And also somewhere here, there will be the unboxing of this monitor. So if you want to check that out, check it out right here or there. And then subscribe to one of these because I need subscribers. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.